In this video, we are going to be taking another classic board game and updating it with 3D printing. But more than that, we are going to be updating it with LEDs and battery power. Now, Jean-Luc Picard might have never said this, but he should have. Make it glow. The game is called Waldschattenspiel by Walter Kroll, published in 1985. But when I ran into it, you could not get a copy of this game anywhere, and it had become kind of a classic make-it-yourself sort of game. People would make their own board, and they would design it. They'd get a tea-light candle to play it with. They'd make trees and little clay figurines. Now, the way the game is played is that the tea-light candle casts a light, and one player rolls dice and moves the tea light candle constricted to the board, but the rest of the players get to play hide and seek with them, hiding their pieces in the shadows cast by the light, and if the light falls on them, they're tagged out. Now, when I saw this game, there were a number of things about it that I immediately wanted to change. First of all, I didn't like that one player was the enemy and that everybody else was the good guys, or not the enemy, or the seekers. I didn't like that. I wanted to automate the seeker player. I wanted that person to not be an individual and that everybody gets to do the hiding, which is the fun part anyways. The other thing that I wanted to change with it, aside from doing 3D printing, was I wanted to get rid of that tea light candle. And I thought, well, I know how to make Throwies. Throwies are just simple circuits that are LEDs in the battery. You put them together, it glows. If I could get enough of these together, it would be real simple to make a light system for this. And of course I wanted to do a retheme, but we'll talk about the retheme later. Talking about these Throwies, I make a lot of these at the makerspace. Whenever people come in, I take these LEDs, for which we have a lot of them, and I pull out some batteries and they put it together with duct tape. But more than that, it becomes a discussion of basic circuit design. For instance, when we put this together like that, I will then take and draw for them on the board, and I will say, this is the circuit that we've kind of built here. This right here is the symbol for a battery, and it goes around to this LED. Now, why do we call these LEDs? Well, they're light emitting, so I'll have to put some squiggles here to show that it's emitting light. Diodes, which means that the power only flows through in one direction. So if I built my thing backwards, it wouldn't work, but flip it around the other way, and it does. The power only flows through it one direction. And then I challenge whoever I'm talking to at the makerspace and say, now how would I power two LEDs with this? And I suggest to them that since the LEDs have a long and a short side, that tells you where the power goes in and where the power goes out. How would we chain those together so that we could have power flowing through all of them? And they of course figure out, well, you got to chain the long side to a short side like that so that you have a long side sticking out and the short side sticking out like that. And I've put them together like this. And then when you power it, well, what happened? Nothing happened. It didn't work at all, no matter which way the battery goes. And sometimes people will say, well, you need more batteries maybe, and so we'll slap two batteries in there, and sure enough, that does light it up. But what's happening here? And I go back to the board and I draw them this. What we've essentially done is we've created a circuit that looks like this. The power goes out to one LED, and the power goes from there to the next LED, and then it goes back to the battery making the circuit. But this particular type of circuit is called a series circuit, chaining them up like this. And the problem with this, if this needs 3 volts, and if this needs 3 volts, then how many volts altogether does this need to be putting out? And people pretty quickly figure out, oh yeah, that needs to be 6 volts. And they're right. When you put things in series like this, each component gets a fraction of the power. And so we go back and I say, well, how could we then do this with just one battery? And sometimes some people figure out that if they both, why don't we just have them both touch the battery? And so we try it. And sure enough, it works. And I point out to them that it doesn't matter the distance. I could even hook them up like that, where the power is just going through there, because the electrical, the metal doesn't actually have any resistance to it. It's only the resistance of the LEDs that matter. So we can even chain them up against each other like that, which leads to a very good illustration here of throwing a second LED in the chain like this. And I say this is called parallel. And by chaining things up in parallel, if this is giving out 3 volts, then each one of these gets 3 volts. And at this point, I hand them the batteries and the LEDs and the duct tape, and they tape them together, and they're having a good time. But once they get 2 of them on there, lit up and duct taped like that, I like to throw them a little curveball with these red LEDs. So here I've got my 2 lights lighting it up, and I'm going to bring in my red LED. And isn't that interesting that when the red LED is lit up, the other 2 are not? Even if it's not touching the circuit, the other 2 are not. But it's kind of fun. I can touch it to different parts of the circuit. And whenever the red LED is lit up, whenever it gets enough contact to light up, it turns off the other 2. And I say, what's going on here? Why is this happening? And I go, well, let me show you. We come over here and we add another red LED to here. But this red LED has a secret that I haven't told you. It really only needs about 2 volts, 2.3, but still, it doesn't need as much power as these ones. So when the power is going through it, the power has the opportunity. It says, well, I could go down this way and that's 3 volts, and I could go down this way and that's 3 volts. But if I go down this way, I'm only burning 2 volts. I'm going to do that all day long and skip out on these ones. And this becomes a short to the circuit. It's a short circuit. Now, not all short circuits go through a diode that you can see emitting light and telling you that that's the way the power is going. Sometimes short circuits are just a connection that goes through that the power is easier to go through. The power will always take the path of least resistance. So parallel only works if everything has the same resistance. And so we could fix this red LED problem by putting a resistor on here. But unfortunately, that's a topic that I don't know very much about. Resistors are one of those things that I'm still learning. Hey, when it comes to 3D printing, I'm the professor. But when it comes to electronics, I'm still the student. So how does this all work into our remake of Waldschattenspiel here? Well, I wanted to retheme it, and I had been working on these little robot models that I had designed to print on their head to, make overhangs and make it so you don't need supports. There'll be no high overhangs for them, just gentle overhangs. And like this one right here, printed like this, it would need supports for the hand, but printed like this, it needs none. And since they already print on their head, they've already got a state for being tagged out in the game. Active, out. And if they're tagged out, you can't move them in the game, which was an important part of the game. So I thought, this is perfect. These little robots that I've made are already ready to go. But who could they be running from that would be emitting light? And I modeled this little UFO creature. Now, I do want to say that all of these were printed on the DaVinci Color, and while they look rather good, they look just fine printed on a single color printer as well, and I've got a whole set of it printed on a single color printer. It looks great, it's fantastic, so either one's an option. Inside his little light cone right here are a couple of LEDs that their leads are underneath and above, and I put 2 batteries inside of it to really overblow these lights. Now, I'm not putting any resistors in here because, again, not my forte, but also I wanted them to kind of be overblown. I wanted them to be a little bit brighter than they otherwise would be. And if that means that these lights, these LEDs are going to burn out faster, it's really not a problem. These LEDs will probably last well long enough for my interest in this game. Now, building this is designed to not be that difficult. It just requires putting in the LEDs in the right direction, twisting up the leads, putting them in the right direction, and then covering them with 3D printed bits, putting the batteries in there, and then putting this little spacer in that I designed to kind of keep the batteries up so that when the light gets screwed into it, or when the alien gets screwed into it and the contact point there comes in contact with the lights, it pushes them all down and lights them up. Well, theoretically. In reality, I can't quite get them all to turn on, and while at first they worked great, they don't always turn off unless you open it all up and mess with the leads directly. I'm trying to think of a way that I could make this be more reliable, and the only thing I can think is that I'd have to put some conductive material on the bottom here, take these leads and put them right up to the edge but not going through, and then somehow run the power from up here to down there. But with the limitations of 3D printing, I'm not quite sure how to do that. If you have any suggestions to help me improve this design, which is available for download right now on 3dpprofessor.com, go ahead, let me know in the comments. Like I said, for this stuff, I'm not an expert, and I would really like to rely on your help for it. But one cute thing that I did with the UFO here is that you can go to the store and buy from one of those vending machines, any of those that have a little pop cap top, pull that little toy out, and on this day when I was looking, I found little fuzzy dogs here. So we can take the fuzzy dog toy and put him to the side, and then put the pop cap top on the top of the UFO, and there we get a cute little UFO top on there. Now that I'm looking at it, wouldn't it be awesome if I made a version of this UFO that didn't have an alien inside of it, so that you could take the little Scotty dog and put him inside and have him chasing the little robots around? Oh my goodness, I have to do this. Now, I took my board and mounted it on foam core and then put it through the laser cutter to separate it into small enough pieces that I could put it in my usual storage solution of dollar store Tupperware to make that work. Then load up the board with all of the, in this case, hay bale pieces, because I've changed my theme from being a forest in the woods to being crop circles in a field. The alien starts in the middle, and then two of the robots start exposed and on their head, and the rest of them are hiding out in the shadows. Each one needs to be in a separate shadow. Then the alien starts by, you roll a dice to determine how many moves he makes, and he moves forward. If you ever roll a 1, he flips around and goes back. And if you're on an odd number when he hits one of these branches, he goes left. Then if it's even, he goes right. That was my attempt to automate the alien so that nobody has to be the bad guy. Of course, my first attempt was a board like this, which is actually still available. In this one, you need 2 dice, one that determines the destination that the alien is going, and the other one to determine how far he goes along this route. This board or this board, they're both fun to play. They both work really well. There's no reason to choose one over the other, so I'm just kind of giving both as an option, and I'll let people choose. But this one, I was kind of attempting to make it so that you didn't have to 2D print anything. This board, of course, is too small. You have to print it bigger, so you print it on 2 pieces of paper. And that sort of thing just bugs me. So I thought, well, maybe I could have something standing up in the middle that cast light into each one of these directions. Or maybe I could give people just tokens, and I could somehow make it so that you measure the distance. And after all of that, attempting to make this idea work without actually printing a board, I eventually realized it was just better to print the board. Now, if you are a Filament of the Month Club member, I will be sending you, in addition to a sample of wood fill filament for you to play with this month, a couple of batteries and LEDs, so if you wanted to start playing with Throwies or even make your own copy of Crop Circle, you'll have everything you need to get started. But I have an announcement to make. This will be the last Filament of the Month Club going out. This project, the Filament of the Month Club, this experiment has not panned out very well. The economics of it were set up a certain way, and it never got to that point. And so at this point, it makes more sense for me to stop doing it than to keep fighting it and trying to make it be something that it just doesn't seem to be getting to. And while I appreciate everybody who has supported me through the Filament of the Month Club and tried it out and stuck with me through it, right now it's modeling projects that I think I'm going to use to support what I do, and that modeling project that I'm doing right now is the Chibimals project. So be sure to check out chibimals.com and check out that project and see if it's something that interests you and if you would like to support it. Well, there you go. My version of Walden Schnapple Shadows in the Forest has now become Crop Circle Shadows in the Crops. So there you go. I really enjoy this game. It's fun, it's simple. The rules are fairly lax, and you can just have fun with this game. I enjoy it. I recommend it. I hope that you'll check it out. And I hope that you'll play a little bit more with LEDs and just do simple little, fun little projects with them. I'm really enjoying getting into circuits and circuitry and LEDs and batteries and electronics a little bit more. And I hope that I'll be able to show you guys a little bit more of what I'm learning with that in the future, because I've got some cool things planned that I want to do here soon, but that's for the future. Before we go, check out this cool project on the Whatcha Makin channel on my Discord. Why don't you stop by and check out what other cool projects are there? And hey, if you share something you've done, maybe you'll see it in a future video too. Thank you very much for watching. Hey, if I mentioned anything in this video, you'll find a link to it in the cards, and you should check that out. Did you know that I'm social? I've got links to all the socials, and you should stop by and say hi. I really kind of enjoy it when that happens. Big thanks go out to my direct backers, and if you want to know more about how you can become that, there'll be a link right here that you can check out. And as always, I want to remind you, safety first, because I care about you, and I'll see you next time. Oh, that's interesting. Classic one there.